lights and wires. We're a circuit board, not a heart that fires. Your gaze is cold like a flickering screen. Our connection's lost in a robotic dream. Just a code, no feeling, no spark. It's an automatic, touchless transaction. No passion rising, no hearts in action. Just a glitch in the system, love on repeat. A synthetic rhythm, can't feel the heat. Our love's an engine running on empty. No heartbeat echoes, just silence plenty. I touch your hand, but it feels so fake. In this automated love, what's left to break? No romance here, just ones and zeros. It's an automatic, touchless transaction. No passion rising, no hearts in action. Just a glitch in the system, love on repeat. A synthetic rhythm, can't feel the heat. We're just machines in a love parade.
Hello, and happy Saturday if you are joining me live for this travel marketeering live session. Yay! If you are new here, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. Glad to see you. If we haven't met before, my name is Joshua Harrell. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for WorldVia Travel Network, and I am in charge of marketing, sales, and service delivery. Sounds an awful lot like many of you and many of advisors across the globe, actually. So you could be tuning in wherever, watching this, wherever, whenever, wherever. Oh, is that a Shakira song? I'm not going to go there. Not yet, at least. So all are welcome here. And if you are joining live, please join me in the chat. I'm gonna go back and forth between today's session, and I'm going to answer questions. And if you are new here, when there is something that a fellow travel marketeer says that you're like right on, well, here in our community, we say TM for travel marketeering. So a TM and good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are watching from. So today's session, we're going to be talking about mastering the sales call, and we're going to be talking about how to be strategic with your closing process. Travel marketeering is all about selling your product or marketing and selling your products and services with systems. So this is whatever topic I'm talking about, we're going to talk about how to break it down into something that you can repeat over and over again, you can refine, you can get better at, and eventually you can scale with. Yeah. Because it's not marketing, sales and marketing, it's not just an art. Some people are naturally gifted, others of us have to work very, very hard at it. So we talk about all the different topics. Now, today, if you are someone who discovered quite by chance that you're good at sales. You probably didn't even say, I'm a salesperson. Probably didn't want to go into sales per se. And then you discovered, oh, you're actually kind of good at it. I'd love to hear that aha moment. I'll share an aha moment I had. So I'll share that later, but drop that in the chat. I'd love to get to it. Now, if you are new here, then that means you probably have not joined our private Facebook group. So we'd love to have you there. All are welcome. Again, all are welcome. This is a group for travel marketeers to talk about travel marketeering, talk about their journey, share ideas. Hey, you got a new logo you're working on? Share it with the fellow travel marketeers. They're going to give you some feedback. You discovered that you actually are benefiting from going live on social media. You know what? This is the community that wants to hear about that experience. So go to Facebook and search for travel marketeers, not travel marketeering, because there's a Facebook page for that. Go search for travel marketeers. You'll find the Facebook group, and we will get you in there. All right. I love to see what's going on in the chat over on YouTube. Hello, everyone from Daniela. Glad to catch the show live today. TM, back to you, Daniela. Always good to see you. Curtis, good morning from Texas. TM to you, Curtis. Glad to see you here. There's Amber. She said, "Hi, Josh." She was trying to tag me, but hey, TM to you, Amber. Good to see you. Connie, hi from the luxury immersion. You know what, Connie? I think you should be paying attention to the immersion, the luxury immersion that you're in. But I'm glad that you dropped by to say hi. Those of you who don't know, today at our WorldVia Travel Network headquarters in Roswell, Georgia, we have the start of a 2-day luxury immersion, The Look of Luxury, The Look of Love. That group is in there learning from some fantastic professors and meeting with many travel partners all about luxury. And many of them, like Connie, have been there all week for various different immersions. There are 3 immersions this week at WorldVia. Wow. So I'll share a little bit about some of my time with the group there. Mike, happy Saturday, and TM, back to you, Mike. Glad to see you come back. We weren't too hardcore last week. I'm glad that you came back. Kristen, happy Saturday. TM to you, Kristen. And Connie said, "We are on a break." I will give you that. I will give you that. You're allowed. And a TM. She's given us a TM. And Stephanie, good to see you, Stephanie. Hi, back at you. Glad that we could help you out a little bit earlier. All right. So again, we're going to talk about mastering the sales call, in the closing process. I have got a presentation deck. It's not just going to be me talking. I've got some information, some ways to capture the things that I'm going to be talking about. So I am going to flip back and forth between that so you can see it. But I guarantee you, you're out watching a T-ball game, you're out a soccer game maybe, I don't know, you might be waiting in the car because groceries are happening, I don't know. So don't worry, I'm going to put this deck in the private Facebook group for travel marketeers right after, so you guys can get the information, because this is important stuff we're talking about, right? So let's get started first with, I'd love to know from those of you who are joining live, how many of you think that or consider yourself a salesperson? And don't answer it because you think there's a right or a wrong answer. Answer it honestly, what you think. Are you a salesperson? The reason why I ask this is, without sales, you don't have a business. Okay. And whether you are an advisor working at an agency or you're an agency owner, you you have to have you have to be a salesperson. You have to have sales in order to have a business. But many of us carry around this impression of sales that, and we talk about it all the time, the used car salesperson syndrome. We talk about it all the time. Oh, I'm not a used car salesperson, right? Well, okay, but you are not doing this service. You're not providing this service to clients as just for humanity, right? You're doing this because this is your business and you are a professional. This is you connect people with the right products, with the right vacation, whatever it is that you sell. You are connecting them with the right thing. And if you've ever been in a situation where somebody has sold to you and you feel like you've been sold to, you're like, "Oh, that's gross. I don't want to be part of that at all." But there's other situations where clearly a transaction has happened. You have you have paid a little or you have paid a lot. But in those situations, you don't feel like you've been sold to. You don't feel dirty. You don't feel gross. You don't feel conned, right? You feel serviced, right? But that person, that company has clearly made a profit off you, a commission off you, something, right? So how is that different? Right? It's sales. That's sales. It's not there's not another service is provided after someone is a customer, right? Service is something you after they are a customer, you provide service support. You're managing their expectations, their experience with you. That's the service side of it. But to get them to become your customer requires sales. So I'm going to talk about this in a way, or I'm going to break this down in a way that we're going to talk first about the sales call and talking about how we qualify the customer, and then ways that we you can be the person that connects that person to the right product that ultimately showcases your expertise. You're in the driver's seat, right? You are the professional here. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that, and then we're gonna talk about the closing. And I don't know if any of you. I used to work in retail. I got my start in retail. Actually, I got my start in theme parks in retail. So that's kind of how I got here. But I remember working with different managers and they would all give me the same line, "Always be closing." ABC, always be closing. Like you're supposed to, everything is about the close. Yes, everything is about the close because you just can't keep meandering, right? But that kind of always be closing is not the mentality I want to have when I'm working with my clients. I want to know where I'm going. I'm in control. But it's not about closing as much as it is being the best that I can be, finding the product, presenting it to the client, and feeling confident that I'm choosing the right things, that I'm presenting the right thing. And then I'm making it easy for them to do business with me. That's how I choose to look at it, and so that's how I'm gonna approach this today. Now, to my question where I asked, "Do you consider yourself a salesperson?" Stephanie said, "No, I don't." She said, "I hate sales. I don't like being pushy." Fair, fair, fair. Curtis said, "I don't know if I consider myself a salesperson. I'm more of a service person. I strive to make people happy." I think we're all in the place, right? We're all in the place. And then Daniela said, "Yes." So she considers herself a salesperson. I learned that early on, even though I didn't consider myself that at first. All right, Daniela, she's had the awakening. Now, the reason why I even ask the question, right, is I many of you know that I got my start in travel working for a retail agency that had many locations and had travel advisors that were the top of their game. These agents knew their stuff. They knew their clients. They had an established network. That network brought them more leads. In fact, they didn't want to work with me because I was supposed to help them get more leads. They didn't want that. They didn't want my newfangled marketing ways, right? But they were really good at what they did, and they still are. I make it sound like that's not no, they still are. Um, but when I made a statement at one point, something about sales. I was like, "Oh, so when you're in the sales, process or whatever," and I had several of them in different situations tell me, "No, no, no, I'm not a salesperson." And I I was gobsmacked. I could not believe it because these were the number one salespeople in our company. They their sales beat everyone else's. So there was this inner feeling about sales being dirty that they didn't want to be attached to it. But if I were bringing someone in new to shadow them to learn, what are they teaching them? They're teaching them sales. They're teaching them how to be phenomenal salespeople. And I think there is a very big gap between basic and phenomenal. And I don't know about you, but I never, ever, ever want to be basic. I want to be phenomenal. So having that moment with them, and it's carried on. It's carried on. Just like I asked the question and you guys said, no, I don't consider myself a salesperson. I don't want to be pushy. At some point, you have to close the deal. You have to turn somebody who is a lead, an opportunity, you have to turn them into a customer. That conversion is sales. So, do you have to be pushy? No. Do you need to be focused? Yes. If you're not focused, you don't have to be. I guess I should say that. You don't have to be focused. But if you're not focused, you could spend a lot of time doing a lot of follow-up text and emails, and people just disappear, right? They just disappear. It never happens. You have put your all in putting together these proposals. You have taken them out to lunch, coffee, whatever it is. You are just everyone loves you, but no one is buying from you. And if no one buys from you, you are not going to be able your business is not a business, it's more a hobby, right? And I'm saying that very matter of fact. Don't don't be mad at me. I'm saying that very matter of fact because I know anybody that is a travel marketeer has a business and not a hobby. So anyway, I hope I can get a TM from some of you because I do feel like I got into my little preachy area here. But let's see. Debbie said, Stephanie, same. She doesn't like to be pushy. And Curtis, I think we can talk about that. Make me phenomenal, Josh. I'm gonna do it, Curtis. I'm gonna do it to it. And then Debbie said, yes, the ghosting, right? I I'm glad that you said the ghosting part, Debbie, because I am very fortunate. I get to work with thousands of agency owners and advisors. I get to travel the world and I get to work with more travel advisors and agency owners, and even supplier brands too. I love what I get to do. But I hear the ghosting thing happening all the time, right? And it isn't necessarily, let's just back it up because we're going to talk about something first. It's not just about closing the deal. Sometimes it's barking up the wrong tree. Can I get a TM for anybody that has barked up the wrong tree? They have invested time and energy in somebody that was never ever going to buy. I'm just saying, I've done it. I know I've done it. All right, so let's talk about first. Let me shift my screen here. Let's talk first about pre-qualifying the leads and setting appointments. All right, first, let's talk about this. You in this world, what we're talking about today, you have done your brand strategy is in place as far as the marketing goes. Part of your brand strategy is how you sell, okay? That's your sales process, okay? So this conversation today is not about how you get the leads. The lead is in your hand. It's in your inbox. It's on the line. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about that because I talk about that a lot in other sessions. I will continue to talk about it for many years to come. But today, let's even if you have a challenge getting people to your website, to your front door of your retail location, calling your office, that is something we'll tackle somewhere else. So let's assume we've got the lead. Okay. The first thing that you have to do is you have to qualify this lead. You've got to pre-qualify them before you start to invest more time than this particular lead warrants. I probably need to back that up a little bit. So let's not assume every single lead that comes in is going to be a customer and is going to be a right fit for you. How many of you have gotten a customer, a lead, they became a customer, and you knew early on this was not the right fit for you? You did it anyway because you wanted to close the deal, you wanted to sell the trip, you wanted to make the money, right? But you knew, you said, "Never again. This is never going to happen again," right? So every lead that comes in, some of them are just not going to buy, but then the ones that do buy, maybe they're not the right fit. So part of this qualification process is, um, finding out, is this the right fit? And you can do this through a quick, it could be an email exchange. It could even be if you have live chat installed on your website. It could be maybe the inquiry form that you have on your website for you to, for someone to fill out if they want to speak to you. But you want to ask questions about, um, the budget ranges. What is the decision timeline? Is this um, well, first, for budget range, is it even realistic? And something I will say here, I've said this before, not everybody knows how much a vacation costs. I was with Wendy from Sandals the other night, and she said to me, she's been in the industry for a while. She said to me, "No one ever knows how much a vacation costs unless they're doing the same thing that they've done before, right?" It's everybody thinks everything is like $5,000, and that's done and dusted. Airline, everything, they're all in. So nobody knows how much something costs, but someone planning or wanting to do a 14-day cruise through the Mediterranean with a $500 budget, that is way, way out of whack. Okay. The other thing is to find out, what is their decision timeline? Is this someday maybe I would like to go to I don't know. Give me something. Australia. Someday maybe I'd like to go to Australia. All right. Gosh, there's a whole world of destinations, and I struggle when I'm coming up with examples. So someday maybe I'd like to go to Australia. That doesn't mean that that's a bad lead to work with. And I'm happy that you got them, right? That could be a very lucrative trip, and I think you could do some really amazing things for them. But if it's not something that they really have, this focus, this deadline of when they're trying to make a decision, they're wanting to go at a specific time, then that's gonna be somebody who's gonna be more of a mild temperature. They're not a hot lead. So, I'm not dropping everything to do all this work. I'm going to put somebody who has that realistic budget, or has an idea of the budget, and, has a time frame that seems doable, right? It seems realistic, seems like they've put some thought behind this. That to me is somebody who I can really dig into, okay? The other thing is, what's a must-have experience? Just just to find out how into this trip are they? I know that might sound kind of odd, right? To have what's a must-have, especially if you're doing this, let's say, on an intake form, a must-have experience. And I'm not a big fan of having big, long forms for your inquiries, but an inquiry to me is really bottom of the funnel. So you've got the top of the funnel where people are, just breezing through your website. They might like you on social media. They might subscribe to your email, but they're not doing anything. They're not ready. They're not downloading anything. They're just kind of. They're not ready to do an online webinar to learn more about river cruising. They're not there. So you got that top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, downloadables. They're doing the webinars that you might be holding. They're maybe engaging with you in social media a little bit. And then bottom of the funnel is I'm ready to talk to you. I mean, that's a big step in this world, right? We don't wanna talk to anybody. Oh my goodness, if you make me call somebody, ooh, I just won't. I will do everything to I'll complain via email that the live chat doesn't work just so I don't have to call somebody. I mean, have we done that before? I have. So when I'm at that point where I'm filling out an inquiry form, I'm a hot lead. Well, I can be a hot lead, but depending on how I answer the questions, when do I wanna go? Oh, I don't know. Okay, that's not great. What does your budget how much have you set aside for this trip? Okay, I don't know. It's not bad, right? I mean, I might not know, that's okay. What are must-have experiences that will make this trip amazing for you or phenomenal for you, Curtis? What will make it phenomenal for you? I don't know. What is that telling you? They would like to talk to you, and they would like to pick your brain, and you can demonstrate your passion, but I'm not feeling like this person is qualified to buy yet. Now, I might have a conversation with them and I might find out more, and I'm like, okay, that's a thing, right? But if they're not giving me some specific information, then I don't think they're quite that hot lead that I wanna drop everything to work with. I'm still gonna talk to them. I'm gonna schedule time to talk to them, but it's in my mind, I've now put them into a cool bath. They're not in an ice plunge, right? They're in kind of this, like, cool mountain spring, right? They're cool mountain spring. Not something I might wanna be like, "Oh, it's a cool mountain spring," but I'm not jumping into that, okay? I need it to be lukewarm, or I need it to be like South Florida in July kind of pool weather. Like, those are my I really just made that up on the fly. That's those are my temperatures, right? So asking those questions, whether it is, via a form, okay, and B, have fun when you ask for questions about budget and time and, must-haves, right? Even when I was trying to talk out that example, I said, "What are must-have experiences, that would make this trip phenomenal?" Right? Not, "What do you wanna do when you're there?" Okay? Let's prime the pump with some enthusiasm, guys. Like, this is gonna be fun, right? They want to do this trip, you want to do this trip for them, and, their interactions with your form are how they can expect how they should expect their interaction to be with you. So infuse your brand in little ways in the words you choose and the phrasing that you use to make sure that in that intake form, you're asking questions that make it fun. This is not filling out the dentist like required forms that you have to fill out. Like, have you moved in the last whatever? Have you been out of the country? Well, yes, I have because I work in travel. Anyway, so be you don't have I say clever, but just be intentional with the words that you choose because that interaction, you don't want it to be them filling out an essay to be able to talk to you, but you do want to get an idea of where are they? Are they in the mountain spring? Are they in lukewarm kind of bathwater, or are they in the South Florida pool in July? Right, find out where they are temperature wise. Um, let's see here. Oh, we've got some good okay, we've got some good chats. Guys, keep them coming. I'm gonna come back to them. Let me work my way through here because you've got some stuff about the discovery call, so I wanna talk about this. Okay, so doing some questions, we wanna qualify these leads and not just ticking the box on a checklist, right? Not just ticking the box on a checklist. We want to do it to even set our own expectations. I got 15 leads last night. Ooh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I got 15 leads last night. What how many of those are well, like, what temperature are they at? What part of the funnel, would you let's not say funnel there, but let's talk about their temperature. Like, what temperature are they at? Set that expectation for yourself, and guess what? If you're pleasantly surprised when you actually talk to them, that's a beautiful thing. But I'm sure many of you have gotten your hopes up thinking somebody had that 14-day Mediterranean trip that they wanted to do, and then when you talk to them, you found out that they've got, not that budget. I don't know what I was gonna compare it to, right? It hurts. I know it hurts, because even before the conversation, you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be so great. I can't wait to do this." And then you talk to them and you're like, "Oh, wow, okay. We're not there yet, but that doesn't mean I turn you away. It just means that I've set my expectations. Here to help you. Let me show you some things to consider." Okay? Something that I find very, very helpful, and I've heard this over and over again, is analyze the past travel patterns to determine their preferences, what their spending habits are. That that indicates that you are a good fit for their specific trip if you see things in there that sync up with what you do. So it's if someone has not traveled, has not experienced things like what you deliver, that's not a bad thing. It means that they've made the decision to bring in a professional, right? So you're gonna guide them, but you're gonna know to guide them a little bit differently than you would have if someone has, "Oh, I go to Europe all the time, but I really wanna take it to the next level," right? Little questions, extracting some of that information allows you to analyze, are you the right fit? Are they the right fit as a customer, and are you the right fit as an advisor? And if you have an agency of advisors, there might be somebody else in your agency that might be a better fit. So this qualification period, these activities around qualification help you figure out not only your expectations, but are you the one to service them? Um, let's see here. So strategic scheduling. So let me talk about this. Uh, this does not up. When I say this, I think some of you are going to know exactly what I'm talking about here. So oftentimes there is one person from a couple that is reaching out to you, right? They're not using a joint email for the most part to contact you, or they're not. Maybe they are sitting side by side, but one person is initiating contacting you. So that's great, right? And that's your contact, right? Um, but when you do, and I hope you have a scheduling, like a self-scheduling link on your website. Those are super, super helpful. So I love that tool to be on your website so people can schedule with you. But some of you need to go through the qualification process before you're going to send anything to arrange time to speak. But I want you to be strategic about scheduling these discovery calls, because in some situations, and probably in most situations, the person that contacts you is the decision maker, right? Or they are the biggest influence, right? We all know that one person that what she says goes in family and in friends, right? So it's this is they're not necessarily solo travelers, but they're the people who are the true decision makers. But then there are those couples where the person who initiates it needs the magnificent other to know every step of the way, needs to be very involved in the decision making, not just, "Hey, I'm gonna let my husband know I'm gonna do this and this." No, the husband needs to authorize this, okay? And authorize is the word I want to use, because ultimately everybody's going to go on this trip. They've got to agree to do it. But if you don't have the decision makers, depending on the situation, if you don't have everybody on that call, you're going to spend a lot of time waiting. You're going to one discovery call might turn into 5, because this person goes and talks to the magnificent other. The magnificent other has 15 questions. Then they come back, they want to schedule more time with you, and they've got the questions, and then they've got to go back, and it's this like back and forth thing. Um, You'll know when that is a thing when the person talking to you, we all need to check with somebody, right? We all do. So don't get me wrong there. We all are going to check with somebody, but you're going to know when somebody is not committing to anything that you're talking about, right? Or they keep referencing something to that effect. So it's just something I want you to think about, because if you don't have those decision makers on the call, especially that discovery call, if you can if you don't have them on if you don't have them on the discovery call, then and they end up being a big person in this decision, then that is going to slow things down. But if you can meet in the discovery call, they get to find out how cool you are, how phenomenal you are, Curtis, right? They can do all those things. Then and you extract more information from them. I'll get to that in a minute in the discovery call. You're going to be referencing them in the conversations, right? And all the decisions, right? Or all the things that you present. You're going to say, "Oh, and Alice will really love this because when we first met, she said she hated this, and this about past trips," right? So it gives you the information you need to make sure you're giving them what they're going to need. But if you have the discovery call and you are missing people, it is going to drag this process out. So, can you really limit it if they are self scheduling on your website? It is very hard to do because you don't know until you know. But depending on how your process, your intake process is of just working with your leads, qualifying your leads, there might be some indication, and maybe you have a quick phone call before you have a discovery call, and you kind of get the feeling, and you just say, "Hey, would it be better if Elizabeth joins you? And I can adjust the event, and we can all get together. Hey, maybe we can go to Starbucks, and I'd love to meet, even if she just pops by for a bit, right? It's integral that you have those decision makers in your world. And if they can't be every step of the way, a lot of retired couples will do things jointly when they're making decisions like this. And it's fun. It's fun. And for you, it's better because you've got the decision makers there. But there are different situations, and I'm sure you've all been in it. Or if you're not, you can imagine it. Maybe you've even been in it as the customer yourself, where we're going deep. We're trying the salesperson is trying to seal the deal, and you can't, because you legitimately need everybody's buy-in at that time to make that decision. So just something to think about. But I wanted to talk a bit about that before we got into that discovery call, because setting up your discovery call, there's some nuance to it that I think makes a huge difference. And again, not being the pushy salesperson, but being the phenomenal person. I left the salesperson out, but we got to embrace salespeople. Let's see here. I want to come back to this. Let's see. So I got some TMs for something. I think it was when I was getting preachy there, and I appreciate that, guys. Let's see. Curtis said, "I have some people I know in my life. I will never have them be a client. I just know they will be difficult." Yes, yes. Let me give. I've got some little graphics I can use. Yes, there's I I think it's funny. You have friends that, they're so happy for you to be in business, and, they kind of throw a little bone your way, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? I need to get with you about that vacation with my Aunt Debbie." And you're like, "Oh, that would be grand, that would be grand," and you're like, "No, never. I'd never wanna work with you," because we all know, I mean, that there are people who, um we're great friends, we're great family members, but we don't need to work together. I don't need them to be a client of mine. That can really mess up a relationship. Let's see. Daniela said, "When I implemented my discovery call and planning fees, I eliminated many window shoppers." That's a really good point. Now, I'm not going to talk at all about planning fees, because There's it's they're important, and I want you to charge planning fees if you can. But that's you have to accept that mindset. That's another let's get you to be a salesperson and accept that first. But I love that you said that you were able to eliminate the window shoppers because I think that as an entrepreneur, someone who is say you're just getting started, you are so grateful for every single comment on a social post, every single email, every single inquiry, every single live chat that comes through on your website. You are so grateful for it. Um, and your mind, you get excited, you're like, this is a customer, oh my gosh, people are, they're hearing my message, I'm resonating with people, and that is a beautiful thing, right? But the window shoppers can take a lot of time, not only through, correspondence, through meetings, they can take a lot of time, but they also take a mental strain on you as an entrepreneur. It it you feel like you need to sell this person, but you can't because they are legitimately window shopping. So, the setting up having a set discovery call, I think makes a huge difference because it makes that an event, and it's not just, "Let's just get on the phone." It's and you don't need to call it a discovery call with them. In sales, it's just called a discovery call. That's where you're giving information, you're getting information. That's the discovery call. So whatever you wanna call it. I've seen some people call them planning sessions, um, consultations. I've seen all that, and all that's fine. But just for the context of sales, and sales process. It's the discovery call, right? So setting it up makes it also sets the tone for you being a professional, right? If you have a consultation call with an attorney, with an accountant, that's that's not just, hey, let's get to know each other, right? That's not that. That's a consultation. There's going to be some expertise that is shared there, and you value that greater. So just having little things, little ways that you set things up and you present to your future clients can make a real big difference, not only in their impression of you, and their in making the interactions with you better, but your chances of closing those deals, I think, are higher. I think they're higher. I've not done a proper study of it, but when the person you're working with values you as a professional, there's a lot of nonsense that you stop having. Um, it's I've seen it over and over again, so you're gonna have to trust me on that one. Let's see here, let's see, the Travel Bug Girls, I know, well, I don't know which one you are, but Danielle, they said, "I had the same experience adding pre-qualifying questions in a form before a discovery call has helped even more." Right, and that's what that's what I'm talking about. If you can put some of those questions around budget, time, must-haves, if you can do it in a way that doesn't feel like you're doing a clinical intake form, I think it can be a beautiful thing. Now, one of the agencies I worked with, they had a form that rivaled a an online booking platform, right? So it had all the travelers' names, all this information on it. I don't. I want to say it even had birthdays at that time, but it had so much that it wasn't that a potential client wouldn't fill that out, but the people who were a little not sure would definitely not fill it out, and the people that would probably be their client gets to that form and says, "Oh, I need more time to fill this out." So then they wait, and then they go do it somewhere else or some other time, or they may never get around to it, and they forgot your name, and then they move on to something else, right? So I just when you're looking at the form, what do you need to know? What will make that discovery call more phenomenal? And make sure it's phrased that way and it feels that way. It makes the difference. Now, it means that you're not going to get a bunch of looky loos, right? but move the looky-loos over to your downloadables. Get them to join your email list. Get them to get your ebook on 15 ways that you do Disney with a family of 6, right? Get them to download those things. They can still interact with your brand. They can still figure out if you're a good fit for them. They can go through all that process, but the discovery call is really for those people who are, yeah, I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to talk. All right. Let's see. And Curtis said, I'm afraid to scare people off with inquiry forms. I get it. I get it. Again, follow the guidance, right? Don't ask for more than you need, and make it feel fun. Make it feel like this is giving it's giving you the information you need to have a fantastic first call. Some of the information that you can have, just even saying what destination they're interested in allows you to come to that discovery call with maybe some product brochures that you think will be exciting for them. Not do it yourself stuff, right? But just when I got your form or the email that you were interested in a vacation, I thought of there's this cruise, a river cruise that has been going down the Nile over the last few years, and every single person I know that has been on it has loved it. It's on the waterways. I I know you wanted to do Egypt. Why don't why don't you I brought this to you. I'm gonna drop this in the chat so you can peruse it, and get excited about it. Those things like that feel really awesome, and it took you very little time, but you extracted that information versus, hey, I I would like I would like to talk to you about a vacation sometime, somewhere, and for some budget, right? Um, let's see. Travel Bug Girls said, Curtis, I think if someone isn't ready to complete a short form with a few basic questions about their trip, they aren't really ready to begin working with you. And that is very, very true. So, Curtis, I'm not calling you out on this one at all. I'm just saying I know how it feels. It feels like you want everybody that even hit that get started button needs to you need to talk to every single one of them. But having multiple ways that people can convert on your website allows you to catch people who are just breezing by, right? That's the top of the funnel stuff I was talking about earlier. And then the people who I don't need to talk to somebody, but oh, it looks like Curtis has a webinar next Wednesday about Egypt and Alma Waterways, right? So, I'm gonna go join that. I don't necessarily need him to talk to me because I'm not ready for that, right? But, that's a way that, they can interact with your brand and become known to you, right? When they register for your webinar, then you can communicate with them a little differently. You can give them the option to schedule time with you, or you just keep nurturing them with email goodness, inbox goodness, right? Until they're ready to fill out a very short form that gives you some more details. So don't be scared. Um, oh, Stephanie has a good question here. She said, if you meet clients at Starbucks, do you buy their drinks? You know what? I would, because that you have asked them to come and meet you. I think that would just that would be expected. And I don't think it needs to be a big deal. I think it could just be, when everybody gets there, just say, "Hey, what can I get you? What can I get you?" And some people might say, "Oh, no, 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 I got it. I got it. What can I get you?" Right? But, it's a part of that, hospitality, that good vibe that, in a way, it's a little old school, right? That you're inviting them, out for drinks. It may be coffee, but, inviting them out for drinks. It can feel really good. Another thing that adds to the thread of your brand, right? And then Travel Bug Girl said, we've been playing with having our forums look more like fun quizzes to encourage people to give us more information. And at the end, we match them with one of our agents. I love that. I love that. And there's some really cool Typeform is a form builder that has a fun, intuitive interface that does feel like I don't want to say a game, but it feels more like an app quiz, right? not just fill out this form that the clinical intake form. So I think there are some clever ways to do that, and that's another thing that you can do in terms of having different conversion points on your website that you also promote on social media, right? It doesn't have to just be promoted on your website, but you can have some inquiry forms that are very here's what's your budget, where you want to go, what time, what do you want to do. You can have those forms, and then you can also have, take our perfect vacation builder. I don't know, machine. I don't know. I'm riffing here, and I'm riffing in a poor way. That can be another way. So maybe somebody doesn't give you all the information, but this seems more fun over here, so I'm going to use this instead of that. And maybe fewer people do the bigger, the longer, more gamified quiz. Maybe fewer people do, but those people, you have so much more information, and you can right from the very beginning get them connected to the right person, and maybe have some things in that discovery call that are very specific to what they gave you. There's lots of ways to do this, guys. I think the biggest thing that I can say is make sure that you have an inquiry form, and it's not just a contact us form that says name, email address, and message, right? Make this a getting started inquiry, right? That make this something that tees up this consultation that you're going to have internally. We're calling it a discovery call, just so we all know what I'm talking about here. So we call it a discovery call, and make sure you have that, because otherwise you're going to have a lot of conversations, and some people are going to be selling you services, and that's very annoying. So anyway, have the have a form, an inquiry form set up. That way you can do the pre-qualification, setting your expectations, and also at that time with the pre-qualification, you can determine whether really you should have a discovery call, or if this is something that you maybe refer to another agency or another agent, right? Could happen. All right, let's look over here at how to structure a discovery call. Okay, so this some of this is going to sound really basic, but I want as travel marketing is all about systems. So I want to break this down into systems, because when something doesn't go right, you can evaluate a system, you can make tweaks to a system. So that's why I want to bucket it this way. So you have the call, maybe you've got it set to where there's like auto reminders, just maybe some tips to prepare for the call. You can structure this call, you can do the pre-call activities in so many different ways. There's so many great ideas there, but the purpose of this call, you've done a little pre-qualification, but you are doing further qualification. Are they a right fit for you? Are you a right fit for them? So you need to build rapport, and you need to build it quickly. The people who I've seen succeed, um, many of them have not done all the training. Many of them still feel like they're clueless when it comes to selling travel. I'm telling you, I'm just being honest with you. And many of them wouldn't consider themselves salespeople. But the ones that I see succeed the most are able, even if it's not in their nature, they have transformed themselves, they have focused themselves to be able to build rapport quickly around what we're here to talk about, travel. I'm sure you know somebody who is friendly with everybody, and they can become everyone's best friend. That is wonderful for you. But you could spend 15 minutes out of a 30-minute discovery call just talking about what type of music you like and where you like to go to dinner in your hometown, right? Sure, that stuff is nice, but you both, the future client and you, need to get as much out of this call as humanly possible. So you want to be able to build rapport quickly, and you want to stay focused around your expertise. You don't need to show off, not at all. But if you start talking about things, that the client wants to get out of the travel, what they've liked about past trips, or just I've never been on a trip like this. I'm so excited. You want to pull the thread and learn as much as possible through building rapport. And I love this question. So this question I think would kind of goes along with, what would make this trip phenomenal on the intake form that we were just talking about, or the inquiry form. But what inspired you to consider this destination for your next trip? The word is not why did you choose? What inspired you? The things that they are going to say are going to give you the mental cues on what you need to, how you need to position what you are going to propose to them in the future. So, the type of notes that you're taking here, super important. Now, I'll give you a little tip. I love the AI tools that will listen to and take notes. I love those. Those are much better than having a, recording the video call. There's something about you, meeting with somebody for the first time and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna record this so I can, have thorough notes of what we talk about." It's just not the vibe that you want as a travel professional. But having an AI tool help take notes while you're present in the conversation, a beautiful thing. And even better, if you can easily take that and use a tool like Avia, our intelligent platform, to craft that up into a recap email that's you can even prime it with, make it fun, exciting, convey that you are so excited to work with them on this vacation. But incorporate some of those notes. They're going to feel like, wow, this person heard me. And it also gives a little documentation of, here's what I heard, and if I misunderstood it, or I am putting emphasis somewhere where you're thinking it shouldn't be, then here's a chance for me to tell you. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's you're giving me the opportunity to truly collaborate with you. And I think that makes that makes the most, or that's the most beneficial in so many relationships, so many sales relationships. So determine identify that motivation. So you're building rapport, you're identifying the motivation, sorry. So, find out what they're wanting. Is it family bonding? Uh, is it a rekindling of the relationship, right? Find out what the motivation is so you can, again, come back with the right products for them, the right experience for them. So just asking different questions, get to know them as a human, motivations, in their head, and ultimately, what is the purpose of this trip, right? So I love this question too. What would make this trip particularly meaningful to for you? Okay. Again, you could say that several different ways. But just me asking you in that way, it sets this conversation up to be so beautiful, so fun, so exciting. And that's what I want it to be, right? And then you got to discover those pain points, uncover the dissatisfaction with past trips. It could be uh, there was the schedule was too intense, or it wasn't intense enough, right? I mean, there's definitely those people. So here's another question, and listen to the words. What aspects of previous trips have left you disappointed? Not what did you hate? What went bad on your last trip? No, no, no. What aspects? What aspects? I mean, that gets down to the nuances. Like, I hate not having enough restaurants to choose from. That can really wear you down, right? Um, just find out what are the things, and if you have a couple or a family, okay, even think about like a multi-gen family, right? You got grandparents, mom and dad, you got the kids, just even having them all together, if you're so lucky that you can have everybody together. Asking that question, you'll hear different things from everybody. Just document that. You don't need to respond. You don't need to have an answer per se for every single thing that comes up, because this is the discovery. They're discovering you and you're discovering them. That is that's extremely, extremely important. Okay. And then also you want to be able to handle those objections, just how you work in the discovery call, how you communicate in the discovery call is exactly how you want to demonstrate exactly how you're going to deliver service to them. So, listen to active listening. I mean, you can listen to somebody, you can hear somebody, but are you really participating in the conversation? Are they saying things and you're asking for clarification? Are you speaking for them? Sometimes we get so excited we speak for them, but we need them to circle that airport sometimes so many times before they land, because it's not going to be till the very end that we actually figure out what their true viewpoint is. So listen, if they've got concerns, you want to validate them. If they are their concerns, they are their concerns, right? And even if that person is so wrong, like that is not how it goes anymore. That's not how, maybe they had a bad experience when they were a child, and now decades later, it's not the same thing. um, Whatever they're saying is a concern of theirs is their concern. So you want to validate it, and you can again, if it's something that it's not even an issue anymore, you can say, "Oh my gosh, I know that would be terrible. Don't worry about it." Well, that would set me off too. I'd say, well, let me give you the good news. They've all stopped doing that thing, right? I can't give you an example of that, but you don't wanna dismiss them. You want to validate the concerns, and again, these concerns help you build the trust, right? And they want to know that as you explore options for them, that you are right in the pocket, you know what they're looking for. Um, so something that I love working into the discovery call is some social proof. So talking about clients, if you have testimonials, those are great. Obviously, many of you put them on your website. That's fantastic. But the way I like to do it in a discovery call is not to read off testimonials, right? It's it that to me is not to me it just doesn't work. However, what I do love to do is I love to talk about my clients in the same way that I would like this future client to know that I'm going to talk about them. I want my brand would be all about community and family and friends. I want to be on that trip with my clients. I want the best for them. I want them to do the things that I didn't get to do, and I want them to definitely do the things that I did and loved, right? So I want to maybe reference, oh, I have a client, Angie, and she is such a sweetheart. And whenever I'm working with her, she and I love to meet for coffee, to go over final documents or whatever. Even if I'm not saying that Angie loves working with me explicitly, I am I'm acknowledging somebody. We have a system. We work with each other this way, right? You're now saying, "Hey, I've got clients, so people like me. You should too." I mean, let's get down to it. That's what it's signaling. But also, it's another way that I can share, how I work with my clients. So working in, some social proof, as human beings, we need it. We need it. Now, you might have it on your website, and that's what made them pull the trigger. But if you can bring a network of clients into the conversation, it's a beautiful thing. Now, another tip I have for you is having, uh, sometimes you might have just gotten started, so you don't have any clients, right? But you have made friends with other advisors, you've made friends with your travel partners, you have all these stories to tell. Maybe you have never been to Cancun, but one of your supplier partners that you work with, they they think that they invented Cancun, right? Like that's how passionate they are about it. Um, Even talking about some of your friends in the industry is a way to leverage, that social proof. It shows that you're not alone, right? And if you're a part of WorldVia Travel Network, you're definitely not alone. That's because we're all here backing you up. But I'm just saying, don't let your network of people within the industry help lift you up, and you're not you're not faking it, you're not lying, you're not being deceitful, but you're showing that you're a professional and you're part of a professional industry and you've got colleagues and peers out there in the world. You're bringing them into the conversation, and that does make people feel good. I'm sure you can look at yourself and say that there are people you can tell that they're operating solo, and you're like, I don't know if I want to work with you. But when you feel like somebody has a strong network, I don't know. It does the trick for me for sure. All right, lastly on this, um, let's talk about transparent communication. Um, you wanna provide honest. I Whenever you try to be anything other than honest, it backfires. Can I get a TM on that one? Because I'm just saying, it just never works. So provide honest, very detailed responses. You wanna demonstrate your expertise and also just that commitment to your client's best interests. So that transparent communication happens via email, it happens via text, but it also is right there, when you're in the moment and you're having a conversation about just that initial discovery call. Those this If I can see that, thank you, Camille. I appreciate that. Got a little TM from Camille there. But that communication, this discovery call is how I find out if I want to work with you, right? You being my advisor, and then me being your client. So we're both trying to figure out if we should work together. So start out as you mean to go on every single time. The moment you try to be something you're not, especially in these early days of building a new relationship with a client, it will. I would be shocked if it didn't backfire in some way. And you might have gone down that road before. Maybe you played a character, that was your confidence trick, right? You played a character, and then 9 months down the road, when the trip finally happened, you realize that you 2 should have never been together. That felt like I was, talking about personal relationships, not professional relationships, but you know what I'm getting at, guys, right? You got to start out as you mean to go on, and do it with integrity. It's in you. You have this grace, this integrity. You are phenomenal. So let that light shine, okay? And don't try to be anything that you are not. And thank you, Daniela. TM to honesty and being yourself. Let's see here. Uh, all right. Let's see. Who do we have here? Travel Bug Girls again. Um, Follow up emails are crucial to helping you close the deal. Yes, they are. They are. We're going to talk about closing in just a moment. Curtis said, I schedule my calls for 30 minutes, but block an hour just in case. I love that for you, Curtis. Here's what I'm gonna say, and it's probably gonna be controversial, but, I, uh, I don't like doing that. I if I set a meeting with someone and I set it for 30 minutes, um, especially in the early days, it's different if you've got a relationship, right? But in the early days, I want to make sure that we have mutual respect. So if I set it for 30 minutes and you felt like it should be for 45 minutes or an hour, right? I would want you to tell me that. I would also like to hold myself accountable to make sure that I can get everything that I want to get done in this call and accommodate your needs. It's my responsibility to get it done in these 30 minutes. If I can slide, you're signaling a few things, right? What you say does not necessarily, you're not firm in what you say, right? Things are very fluid. It also signals that you're not that in demand or busy that you have this time to extend to whenever. Now, that's very harsh, and believe me, there are exceptions, right? It takes me 15 minutes to say hello, so I'm not the best person to stand on a high horse here because I can't, or sit on a high horse. But I will say it's a game changer when you start a meeting on time and you end a meeting on time. even if you have to schedule another meeting a little bit later, like, oh gosh, we have so much we still need to talk about, don't we? Yes, we do. Wow. If they said that to you, then that means that they do want to talk to you some more, right? I'd love to schedule a time. Can we look at our calendars real quick before we run out of time here? Sure, I'd love to. How soon can we do it? Okay, I think we're getting into that Florida in July pool temperature. I'm just saying. So, so me having some guardrails on this time when we can speak can actually help me draw out some other information too. So I love the 30 minutes. I think 30 minutes is a good fit for a discovery call. So don't get me wrong there. It's just see how that goes for you. See if you feel that that people don't necessarily respect your time or they're calling you all throughout the night, not because they have an emergency, but just because that's when they were thinking about it and that's when they're going to reach out to you. Believe me, I've heard some horror stories out there. So I'm just giving you some of that advice there. But Curtis, you do what you think is right. Okay. All right. So let's talk about closing techniques. And Travel Bug Girls saying emails are crucial to helping you close the deal. I firmly believe that, especially when those emails are, um, they're focused on how you are trying like what they're. Excuse me. They're very specific. They have a purpose. It's not I'm just following up, right? There's the email is furthering the relationship. It's deepening the relationship, right? So they're very, very important, very, very useful. But I want to take a step before we get there, take a step back and just say that you can put together your proposals, right? You can come up with 50 proposals, right? But just sending that to the client is not asking for the sale. It's not really demonstrating that you have a closing strategy here. And I'll be mindful and say that closing strategy isn't I'm not so cold-hearted that, everything is just mapped out, but I have to in order to feel like I can deliver consistent service across the board, I do have to create some structure for myself. So, thinking about how I put together proposals, how many options I give, right? How deep those proposals are at the various different stages that a client might be at. Like some people are just like information only. I'm just trying to get a handle on the budget. I'm trying to pull some different things together. So those people, I'm not going to get down to the brass tacks of everything, right? I might just do a nice flying visit of my proposal. Now, people who are they're ready to move on this. Yeah, those are the ones that I'm going to go deeper, but I'm not going to do 50 proposals. I'm going to figure out based on everything I gathered through the discovery call and subsequent communications, I'm going to put together the thing that I think is the right fit. Now, selecting the product and everything, that's not what we're talking about in this conversation. This is about that qualifying discovery call, and then now we're talking about closing. So selecting the product and putting together your proposal, that's a strategy in and of itself. And it might not be the same strategy with every single client or every single type of client. You have to figure out what's the right approach for the types of clients you have and the products that you're selling. But no matter what you sell, no matter how you sell, you are selling. So, how are you going to close? So, I'm going to give you some closing techniques here for travel sales. So, this is where the close is where your interest we go from the interest phase to the commitment. You want a commitment from your clients. Um, Getting to a commitment also means that you have listened to your client. You have found you are the right fit. Your communication style is right for them. The product, your expertise is right for them. So that commitment is not only saying, "Hey, we're buying from you." It's we're buying from the way you are. So I think that in and of itself, we were talking about being a pushy salesperson. Even if no money changed hands, which that I do not recommend, but if no money changed hands, it is a validation that your approach worked, right? Everything that you did worked. And that to me is a high that I still chase to this day because it just feels good. It's not because I was a pushy salesperson. It's because I was smart. I was smart in working with my client and finding the products and presenting it to them in a way that didn't confuse them, right? So the commitment is a big deal. That's where you're like, "Oh, I won." But obviously money needs to exchange hands in order to do the deal. So let's talk about 4 closing techniques. And if any of you use these or have any nuances that you'd like to add to it, please share. Please share because you guys are selling all the time. And some of you might sell just naturally, like you might be doing some of these things just naturally. And I'd love to hear if there's anything that you hear in this that you're like, yeah, I need to try that. So there's the direct close. That's simple, straightforward. When their interest is so strong, when they're like, "Oh gosh, that's it. Oh yeah, I'm just so hyped up. This sounds perfect. This is lovely." So that's. Would you want like me to book that Amalfi Coast tour for you today? Right today, like not someday in the future. Right today. You're being very specific. It's a direct close. It's not. It's not something that's open-ended, like, "Does this sound good? Would we someday maybe work together in the future?" It's not that. It's saying, "Hey, does this it seems like you really like all of this. Let's is it okay if we go ahead and book this today?" There we go. Yes. Okay. I listened to something, yesterday, and they said most people hate sales because they're afraid of hearing no. But you have to hear no's to get to yeses. So it's inevitable. You're going to have no's. And I thought that was obvious, right? But it was the way that it was framed up that I'm like, yeah, I don't want any rejection in my life. That would stink. I don't want rejection. But it's inevitable. So I do need to accept that because if I'm so scared to go for the close, then I'm never going to close. And I'm going to have some not even clients, right? I'm gonna have some people that like me in my database and no money coming in and no travelers coming back from trips that I put them on, right? So anyway, I know I keep harping on that, but I it's okay. The no's are okay, and the no's can actually open the door to ways that you can improve your process or ways that even with this client you can change course quickly. It's how you respond and it's how you listen to those cues. But if the interest signals are saying yes, 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 then go ahead and ask for it. That's the direct close. So then we've got the choice close. So you present options rather than yes or no decisions. Would you prefer the oceanfront suite or the ocean view room with the private balcony? So look at that, right? It's not do you want to book this trip? It's which of these experiences do you want to book? If they say, "Oh, no, no, I'm not ready yet," right? "Oh, okay. When might you be ready?" Like, you can still extract some information, or you might find out, "Oh, I'm just not sure. I don't." Maybe you didn't give them, the value wasn't presented the way that you could have done, right? There's things again, out of a no, you can learn a lot and you can pivot. But the yes or no is it's you're dead in the water. But if they say no, but if you've got these 2 options, they could say, "You know what? I really like the ocean suite, but I would like this, and this with it," right? There you go. You essentially got a halfway yes. We don't need to talk about the ocean view anymore. We're going to talk about the oceanfront suite, but we're going to see how we can get this combination to be the right fit for them. So they didn't say no. They just now honed you in on where you want to go. That's extremely helpful. Now there's the assumptive close. So that is an aggressive approach. So you're proceeding as if the decision has already been made, right? This through the whole process, all the discussions that you've had, all the things that they've weighed in on. you're assuming that we've been working to the close the entire time. So let's get your family's Caribbean package set up for these dates. There's no question there, right? I'm moving. And some clients are going to love that. They've been working with you because they knew they were buying from you, and it's been so collaborative. We know we're going to close, or not close. They're not thinking about that. We know we're going on this trip. Now, if they, say, "Oh, well, I'm not ready yet," da 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 da, again, an opportunity to get more information. It's no problem. It's not a problem that they've pulled you back. You didn't pick up on those cues. But I have worked with so many people that that is their approach. And don't let the it's an aggressive approach. It just means you're assuming that you're progressing without even leaving that as an open question, right? But I've met so many people that that's their approach because the way they work with their client and building the proposal is so collaborative that there are so many moments when the client can say, "You know what? I'm just going to push pause on this right now." No, they don't. They keep on moving. So then we're gonna do business together. It's just what is the right combination? And there are people who like that. Like, that's part of the trip is putting it all together. And they like that somebody is running with it. That's a beautiful thing. I love when it happens, and you don't have to use one approach with everybody, right? But this is how you can systematize. Okay, I think the best thing with this client is to do this. Or, like I said, you might naturally do some of these things. It's just a part of your nature. This is how you do it. But all of these this is a closing technique. This is not just how I present a proposal, right? It's not just let me get the proposal in their hands. It's how do I present the options, the proposal, and how do I keep it moving and get it to the next step? And that is for them to become a customer. And the last one I've got on this list is the this or that close. So you do two completely different options. Like, they're 2 different itineraries. So would you like to explore the Caribbean cruise further, or should we dive deeper into the all-inclusives? Now, that's not I'm ready to buy, right? But it's almost this is how we're going to get to that decision, and probably more that assumptive close is giving them the this or that, right? And then there are people that it's appropriate, right? They want to do Europe. Do they want to do the river cruise, or do they want to do a tour? So that there's a this and that there. So I hope that's helpful as a way for you to come up with a close that fits your different scenarios, or even just your style, right? Let's see, we've got some let's see here. Debbie's got something here. She said, "How important is it to create a sense of urgency from first consultation to booking without being a turnoff?" Okay, so it it depends, Debbie. And it's interesting that you say that because or you asked that question because that is the very next thing that I was gonna talk about. So from the consultation to the booking really depends on the trip, right? If somebody is contacting you, um, that there is a special offer, and that's the first option I have here is like limited time promotions that genuinely expire. That to me is something where we need to have that sense of urgency, and we need to communicate in that language because time will run out. Now, in general, especially with someone who's planning a little further in advance, and I know many of you, that's what you want. You want your close in bookings, but you also want those future bookings because they're generally more lucrative, right? So you you want to match it up with what the outcome is. So limited time bookings or promotions, very very important. Don't fake urgency. That again falls apart. It's just the same as you trying to be somebody else. Don't fake the urgency. Use it where it's appropriate. But those promotions very important. Seasonal availability that can experience that can affect the experience quality too. Like the just you don't there's not a lot of availability, super busy, things like that. Things that you know as the expert, and if you don't know firsthand, your travel partners will help guide you. They can help you form these opinions and these ways that you can assist your clients and moving them along. I've worked with clients or with travel partners who they're working with an advisor and they're putting together a group or whatever, and something larger, and that travel partner obviously wants to close the deal, but they're letting us know that if it takes too long, they're gonna run into there might not be availability on the excursions, things like that. So there's things that are built into what you're planning for your client that have a sense of urgency, but again, don't fake it. There's also, price increases that could come along. Sometimes those are not the ones that you know about, but sometimes that works in your favor with what the media will report on, flights are gonna go up in next month. "Oh, we're all worried about the economy." Some of that language right there that's out in the world, that can positively impact you because it will get somebody who is maybe sitting on it a little bit, and right now is the time for them to buy that air. So in terms of urgency, there's a few things. The other thing would be popular accommodations with limited inventory. So if you want those big grand suites on those ships, there's not an unlimited supply, right? Very limited supply. NCL, the Haven, right? That's not unlimited supply. So if somebody is interested in those types of accommodations, they do need to book quickly and get on it. So that is part of your job as the advisor to guide them through, when there is urgency or when there should be urgency, and just communicate about it openly. It does not need to be a scare tactic. Does not need to be that. As long that it's they're in control, they're making the decisions. You're just making it easier for them to make those decisions. And don't fall into this. Don't assume that they know as much as you do about travel, because I guarantee you they don't. So just because you're tuned into the news, you know that the airfare might be going up. You know all these things. You're so plugged in. Your client doesn't necessarily feel that way, or they're not plugged in that way. So again, express your expertise, demonstrate your expertise, and share it with them. Help them find out when they think they might be ready to make a decision. And if it's next week, then if you don't need to use the urgency, don't. Right, but have have an approach to presenting your options that it does not leave it open-ended where they can ghost you. Find out, even if it's a no, even if it's a hard no, right? Knowing is better than not knowing. Don't bark up the wrong tree in any situation. Okay? So that's my advice there. And then I want to leave you before we wrap up. I want to leave you with just here are some action items that I want you to take with you today. Like I said, I'm going to drop this deck in the Travel Marketeers Facebook group right when I close out. So if you want to come back and look at these notes, I would love for you to do that. Okay. So first, I want to make sure you update or have a look at your current qualification process. Um, then look at your discovery questions. So your qualification and some of those discovery questions, you can blend some of those things together. But with that discovery call, you got 30 minutes, Curtis. We're gonna make our client feel sense, or we're gonna demonstrate how organized we are, how passionate we are, and engaged with their trip. We're going to be thoroughly engaged with what they're doing, and at the end of it, we're going to know what next steps are. When I'm going to follow up with you, you're going to know all that. I'm going to follow up with a recap of this meeting. I mean, I'm going to show you just how professional. I'm going to professional you out. I am so professional right now. You have been professionalized. I don't know. I don't know why I went that far with that. But develop some discovery questions. Again, be creative. You want to meet their excitement. You want to demonstrate that you're the right person for them. Practice those closing techniques. If you have not presented to a client yet, practice with a friend, practice with a fellow advisor. um, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody because just getting it out in the open, not just practicing it in your bathroom, it will make the difference. It will make the difference, and you'll find what flows. And I will tell you this, everything that I will practice in private, then I will float it in public, and sometimes it doesn't go well, like when I float it in public. But when I'm in situations where I need to pull on some of those things, there's a memory there. It's almost like a muscle memory. It comes out in 8 8 out of 10 times. It's right on the money and it's right there, but it wouldn't be honed in had I not practiced it. So please practice. And prove your methods. Collect 2 detailed client success stories where you specifically addressed objections, and create shareable references for the future, right? Like here's or shareable versions of this. Like show create these case studies of how you worked through different scenarios, and have that, that's about how you work with your clients and how you uncover their needs, validate their concerns, handle those objections. Document that so you've got it as almost like your SOP for working in the future. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's see. Stephanie, I give you a thank you right back because I appreciate you being here. Um, and looks like there's some more chat out there, but I do need to wrap up. Guys, I hope you had a good time today, or watching this again on demand. Again, you can watch all of our episodes of Travel Marketeering. You can watch them on our YouTube channel, WorldVia Travel Network. You can go check them out there, and loads of other content. If you watch our Elevate Your Travel Agency with Laura DeVega, I mean, that is some prime information for every single agency owner. I swear, she's brilliant. I hope you tune into that show. But keep in mind, you want to create systems because you can work on systems. You can make them better. You can highlight the things that are working and do more of it. And once you do that, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a owner of a book of business, right? You will find strength, you will get better, and you will be able to accomplish your goals. It's when everything feels like it just happens to you, you don't have control over it, that it becomes so hard and sometimes so insurmountable that sometimes you want to just give up. And don't give up. Don't ever get up. Give up. Get it. Don't ever get up. Don't ever give up because this is the coolest industry to be in. It is so rewarding. And the things that you put together for your clients, I I mean, you truly are making memories that will be talked about for a lifetime. So have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Saturday. Take care. Bye, guys.